All right, everyone, get ready because today we're taking a deep dive into the world of parking valet interviews.
Yeah, getting you prepped and ready to really impress those hiring managers.
Exactly. And luckily, we've got some excellent resources to help us out with this deep dive.
Absolutely.
We've got RoleCatcher's Career Guide.
An interview guide, even
Ah,
their whole interview question repository.
so much good stuff.
It's really amazing all the resources they've put together.
So basically, by the end of this deep dive, you're going to have the knowledge,
They're confident.
everything you need to ace that interview.
Totally. We're going to break down those common interview questions, really figure out like the best ways to approach them, and then even how to use some of RoleCatcher's AI tools to give you that personalized edge, you know?
Oh, yeah, that's going to be so cool to explore later on.
Yeah, definitely.
But first, I think we got to get a good understanding of what a parking valet does day to day.
I think that's a great place to start.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people think of a parking valet as just parking cars, but it's really so much more than that.
Right.
A lot of times you're the first person
Yeah.
a customer sees when they arrive at a business or the last person when they leave.
First impression.
Exactly. So, you're greeting them, you're making sure they feel welcome, making sure their vehicle is handled with care,
Making them feel comfortable.
Exactly. Maybe helping with their luggage. And then you're doing all of that
Right.
while staying cool, calm, and collected
Oh, yeah.
in a fast-paced, sometimes stressful environment.
Yeah. Very true. Very true.
Yeah.
Well, the career guide even mentioned that the work environment itself can be pretty demanding.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess stamina
Mm-hmm.
and having a positive attitude is pretty key.
Absolutely. You're going to be on your feet a lot, working outdoors in all kinds of weather.
Rain or shine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you'll probably have those times where there's a real rush of vehicles, especially, like during peak hours or,
Right.
busy events.
It's funny you were just saying that. It just
Yeah.
reminded me of this one time I was running super late for a concert.
Oh, no.
I know. And I was just like frantically trying to find parking and like all stressed out.
Oh, yeah.
And this valet just swooped in,
Yeah.
took my keys and said, "Don't worry, we'll take care of it."
Oh, wow.
I know. And like, it was like this weight just lifted off my shoulders.
Oh, I
And
bet.
it's like, okay, I could actually relax and enjoy this concert now.
Yeah, that's a great valet.
I know, right? And that really just like,
Yeah,
that's the kind of impression that you want to make.
exactly. And that's really what those interviewers are going to be looking for as well. They want somebody who understands it's not just about parking the car, but it's about that whole customer experience.
About the whole package deal.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, well, speaking of interviewers,
Yeah,
let's get into these sample questions
I think that's a great idea.
that RoleCatcher provided.
Yes.
This is going to be like our roadmap
Yeah, for sure.
to navigating this whole interview terrain.
Totally. And remember, you can always use RoleCatcher's AI
Right?
to get personalized feedback
Yeah.
on your answers. So for each job you apply to, it's going to be a little different, and the AI can kind of...
It's like a custom-made study guide.
Exactly. It's so cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so question number 1.
Okay, let's hear it.
Can you tell us about your previous experience working as a parking valet?
Okay.
The classic experience question.
Right. So what are they really trying to dig into with this one?
They want to see like what you've got in your toolbox. Even if you haven't worked as a valet before, you can talk about any jobs where you interacted with customers, or maybe you had to handle a lot of responsibility, or you had to drive different kinds of vehicles.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
Those experiences are all super valuable. And it's a good way to kind of show them what you've got.
So what if someone does have experience working as a valet?
Yep.
How do they make their answer stand out? I think the key is details, details, details.
Oh, yeah, specifics.
Yeah. Don't just say, I parked cars.
All right.
Talk about the companies you've worked for, the types of vehicles you've handled, like, was it luxury cars?
Right.
Vans, trucks,
Give those details.
Exactly. And then think back to any challenging situations that you've encountered and how you overcame them successfully. Like, did you have to deal with a full lot during a busy rush? Or, maybe you helped a customer with a flat tire. Those kinds of stories show that you can think on your feet.
Yeah.
And you're willing to go above and beyond.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
What about somebody who's brand new to the valet world, but has those transferable skills from other jobs?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, let's say someone worked in retail.
Yeah, absolutely.
A fast-paced retail environment.
That's a great example. I think that's where you really connect the dots for the interviewer. You could say something like, while I haven't worked as a valet specifically, my experience in retail taught me how to handle a high volume of customers, how to multitask effectively, and how to stay calm under pressure.
Right, right.
And then back it up with a concrete example.
Yeah, a real world example.
Exactly, like a time where you had to deal with a super long line.
Right.
Or maybe a customer who was particularly demanding.
Perfect. That makes total sense.
Yeah.
Okay, question number 2.
All right, hit me.
How do you handle difficult customers who are unhappy with your services?
Oh, that's a good one.
Right. It
Yeah.
just feels like a potential minefield.
Yeah, it can be.
Yeah.
But it's important to remember that those interviewers are looking for someone who can handle conflict professionally and turn that negative experience into a positive one,
Right.
right? So the key is to show empathy, to listen actively to what that customer is saying, and to try to find a solution within, the company's guidelines.
Yeah, within the boundaries.
Exactly. And I think this is a good one where you can use the AI tool. So,
Oh, really?
yeah, you can actually get some sample scripts tailored to this question,
Okay.
which can be really helpful.
For practicing.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say a customer comes back and they find a small scratch on their car.
Oh, that's never good.
I know. And they're understandably pretty upset.
Of course.
How do you handle that?
Well, I think first, take a deep breath, stay calm.
Okay, yeah.
And you could say something like, I understand you're concerned about this scratch, and I want to assure you that we take these matters very seriously. My first priority is to document this and report it to my manager, so we can follow the proper procedures for handling the situation.
Right.
And, offer to walk them to the office, make it really clear that you're on their side.
Okay, yeah, that's a good way to kind of de-escalate things.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, well, question number 3 really takes a turn towards safety.
Okay.
Here's the question. How do you ensure the safety and security of parked vehicles?
Ah, very important.
I know, and I feel like especially with all the technology that's in cars these days.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Super important.
Yeah, interviewers are going to want to see that you're not just a driver.
Yeah.
You're like a responsible guardian of those vehicles.
Right, yeah.
So talk about the specific steps you take, like making sure those cars are locked, parking them in well-lit and secure areas, being vigilant about anything that seems out of place or unusual.
Right, right.
Just really showing that you're paying attention.
Yeah, I noticed that the guide even mentioned, like, the increasing use of technology in parking, like mobile apps.
Oh, yeah.
Automated systems and stuff.
For sure. I think showing that you're comfortable with technology is definitely a plus. So you could say something like, I'm comfortable using mobile apps to keep track of vehicle locations. Oh. And I'm also familiar with automated parking systems, And I'm always eager to learn about new technologies.
Yeah, that shows you're, like, forward thinking.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, next up is question number 4. And this one focuses on organization.
Okay, love it.
All right, so here's the question. How do you prioritize multiple tasks and manage your time effectively?
That's a classic.
Yeah, so it sounds like, just classic time management, but in the valet world.
Exactly. I mean, you're constantly juggling a lot of things, right? You're dealing with customers, you're parking cars, you're retrieving vehicles, handling payments. It can be a lot.
It can be a lot to keep track of.
For sure. And those interviewers want to know that you can stay organized and keep things running smoothly even when it gets really hectic.
So how do you, kind of explain your system without it sounding like you're a robot reading from a manual?
Yeah, I think sharing a real-life example can be really helpful. So you could say something like, when I worked in retail, I often had multiple customers all needing my help at the same time. So I developed this system where I would focus on the customers who had been waiting the longest while also keeping an eye out for anyone who seemed lost or confused. And then you can explain how that helped you to provide great service to everyone.
Right, a practical, relatable example.
Exactly.
Okay, question number 5 brings us to stressful situations.
Oh, boy, I know.
How do you handle stressful situations, such as a busy parking lot or a difficult customer?
It's a good one.
I know. And I feel like this was pretty universal no matter what job you're interviewing for.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so important to show that you can stay calm and collected under pressure.
Yeah.
And, everyone has different ways of coping. Maybe you take a few deep breaths. Maybe you focus on one task at a time. Maybe you ask a colleague for help when you need it.
Right, right.
The key is to show that you have strategies for managing stress and that you don't let it affect your performance.
Okay, so let's set the scene.
Okay.
It's Friday night. The restaurant is packed.
Uh-oh.
The parking lot is totally overflowing.
Oh, I've been there.
I know. And all the customers are getting impatient.
It's a pressure cooker.
It is.
Yeah.
How do you stay calm and collected?
Well, I think in that situation, I would really focus on staying calm and organized. So I'd prioritize the guests who've been waiting the longest, make sure I'm efficiently directing those incoming cars to the available spaces.
Right.
And if things got really overwhelming, I would communicate clearly with my team
Yeah.
and supervisors.
Make sure everyone's on the same page.
Exactly. Just to keep things running as smoothly as possible.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
For sure.
Okay. Wow, it's amazing how much we've already covered.
I know, right?
And we're just getting started.
That's warming up.
We still have 5 more questions to go over.
Yes.
Plus, we want to, dive into how RoleCatcher can really help you kind of personalize your prep.
Oh, yeah.
And then
That'll be awesome.
also look at some of those key career insights
Yes.
from the career guide.
Can't wait.
I know, there's so much great information in there.
So much good stuff.
I know. So let's take a quick pause.
Okay.
We'll be right back to continue our deep dive into the world of parking valet interviews.
Sounds good. All right, so are we ready for those next 5 questions?
Let's do it. I'm excited to keep going.
Okay, so question number 6 is all about going above and beyond for customers.
Okay, a classic.
Right. The question asks, can you give an example of a time you went above and beyond for a customer?
Okay, so what kind of examples would really wow those interviewers?
I think it's all about those little moments where you went that extra mile, even if it wasn't specifically in your job description, like maybe you helped someone with a flat tire,
Oh, yeah.
or, you gave directions to a tourist who was lost, or even just offered a friendly umbrella to someone on a rainy day.
I love those examples.
Yeah.
Those are good.
It's those small gestures that really show that you're genuinely dedicated to creating a positive experience.
Exactly. It's about that customer-centric mindset.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, question number 7 kind of shifts gears a bit.
Okay.
It asks, how do you ensure that parking areas are clean and well-maintained?
Okay, that's a good one.
Yeah, and it might seem pretty straightforward on the surface.
All right. Right.
But I feel like there's probably more to it than just,
Yeah.
picking up trash.
It's not just about picking up trash. It's about showing that you see that whole parking area as an extension of the business itself.
Okay.
Those interviewers want to know that you're paying attention to those details. Like, are the walkways clear? Are there any maintenance issues that you need to report? Are you being mindful of the noise level when you're moving vehicles around,
Right, yeah, it's about creating that welcoming, well-maintained environment for everyone.
Exactly. It all ties together.
Okay, question number 8 deals with money,
Okay.
cash, and credit card transactions.
All right. The money question.
All right, so here it is. How do you ensure accurate and secure financial transactions?
That's a big one.
So obviously, honesty
Yes.
and accuracy are super important.
Of course.
But is there anything else that you should really highlight in your answer?
I think this is a great place to showcase any experience you have with different payment systems. Like if you've used a point of sale system before, or if you've handled cash in other roles, definitely mention that.
Okay.
But even if you haven't, you can always emphasize that you're willing to learn and that you're committed to following all the proper procedures to make sure those transactions are accurate
Right.
and that the customer's information is protected.
Yeah, I guess it's a good time to also show that you understand the importance of security and confidentiality
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's key.
when it comes to that financial information.
For sure.
Okay, question number 9 throws us a little curveball.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Here's the question. Can you describe a time you had to handle an emergency situation in a previous role?
Oh, okay.
So what if someone's, they're newer to the workforce or they just haven't had to deal with like a major emergency on the job?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I mean, you can still use this question as an opportunity to show that you can stay calm and think clearly under pressure.
Right.
So think back to a time where you had to deal with maybe an unexpected situation, even if it wasn't a full-blown emergency. Like maybe there was a sudden rush of customers,
Right.
or the power went out, or, there was a medical incident or something.
Right.
The key is to show how you assessed that situation, took the appropriate action, and, stayed focused on keeping everyone safe.
Okay. Yeah, those are all really good points. It's all about just showing that you can handle the unexpected and think on your feet.
Exactly.
Okay, final question in this set is all about professionalism.
Okay.
All right. How do you maintain a professional appearance and demeanor on the job?
A very important one.
Yeah. So what are some key things to keep in mind for this one?
Well, remember that you're representing the company, so interviewers want to see that you understand how important it is to look and act the part.
Right.
So talk about things like being well-groomed, wearing a clean and presentable uniform, using polite language,
Hmm.
being attentive to customers' needs, all those things that project professionalism.
Yeah, for sure. And, if the company has specific grooming guidelines,
Oh, yeah, good point.
definitely familiarize yourself with those
Mm-hmm.
and, mention that you're happy to follow their standards.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, it's amazing how each of these questions just gives you a chance to really highlight different skills and qualities.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity to showcase what you've got.
It is, but it can be tough to know, if you're really hitting the mark when you're practicing by yourself.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
And that's where I think RoleCatcher's AI feedback can be super helpful.
Oh, yeah. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, okay, so it's basically like having a personal interview coach right there in your pocket.
Wow.
I know, it's really cool.
Okay, how does it work? It sounds almost too good to be true.
Well, so you can actually type in your answer to a question, and then it'll give you personalized feedback based on the specific job that you're applying for. So,
Oh, wow.
so it might suggest some stronger wording, point out areas where you could be more concise, maybe suggest some extra examples that you could include.
That,
It's all about helping you really fine-tune those answers
right.
and boost that confidence.
It's like a custom-made study guide for each interview.
Exactly.
That's so cool. Okay, well, we have officially covered 10 common interview questions.
You did it.
I feel like we've already given our listener a ton of valuable information.
Yeah, I think so too.
But before we wrap things up, I do want to take a few minutes to look at some of those key career insights from RoleCatcher's Career Guide,
Oh, yeah, definitely.
because there's so much good stuff in there.
It can help you not just with that interview, but with like actually thriving in that career.
Long term.
Exactly.
Yeah. Uh, one thing that really stood out to me
Mm-hmm.
was just how important it is to have customer service experience.
Absolutely, yeah.
Even if you're not coming from a valet background,
Yeah.
having that experience working in retail or hospitality
Yeah.
or any customer-facing role can be such a huge asset.
Yeah, it's all about those transferable skills that we talked about.
Right.
Like those experiences teach you how to interact with people, handle difficult situations, provide excellent service, and those are all essential
Yeah.
for any successful valet.
And of course, the guide mentions, having a valid driver's license.
Of course.
Pretty essential.
Makes sense.
I know it seems obvious, but
Right.
but it's good to point out.
Absolutely.
But yeah, beyond those basics,
Yeah.
the guide also highlights that there's potential for career advancement in this field.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You could, move up into supervisory or management roles.
Totally.
Like becoming a parking supervisor or a lot manager, or even, pursuing those opportunities in parking operations management.
Yeah, there are definitely a lot of different paths you can take.
So there's definitely room for growth if you're willing to put in the work and,
Yeah,
develop those skills.
absolutely. Continuous learning is key.
Yeah.
The parking industry is always changing. New technologies,
Yeah.
new trends are always coming up. So staying up to date on all of that can give you a real competitive edge.
That's a good point. And speaking of competitive edge,
Yes.
let's circle back to RoleCatcher and, really how their platform can help you stand out from the crowd.
Yes, let's talk about that.
We briefly mentioned earlier the Get Started for Free
Mm-hmm.
and the Expand and Enhance with RoleCatcher Copilot AI sections.
Yes.
So could you break those down for us?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Get Started for Free section, that's really your entry point into those basic RoleCatcher features.
Okay.
So you can create a free account, start building your CV, explore thousands of career and interview guides. Wow. Okay.
It's really a great way to just get a feel for the platform and see
Yeah.
how it can help you.
And then if you're ready to really unlock the full potential,
Yeah.
you've got the Expand and Enhance with RoleCatcher Copilot AI.
Exactly. That's where it gets really exciting.
Yeah.
So the Copilot AI subscription gives you access to all of those awesome AI-powered features that we've been talking about, like the CV resume builder, which actually tailors your application to each specific job.
Oh, wow.
And then the personalized feedback on your answers.
Yeah.
And even like AI analysis of your video practice session.
No way.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Wow. It really is like having a personal career coach.
Totally.
Okay, wow. That sounds incredibly comprehensive.
It's really impressive.
Well, we have covered a lot of ground today from, really breaking down those common interview questions to looking at those key career insights and then seeing how RoleCatcher can really be your secret weapon.
Your ultimate toolkit
Yes.
for that job search.
It is, but before we hit the brakes on this deep dive, Okay. I do want to leave you with one final thought to ponder. What skills or experiences beyond what we've already talked about do you think would make someone a truly exceptional parking valet? How would you showcase those in an interview?
Ooh, that's a really good question.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it really is a chance to show what makes you unique and why you'd be such a valuable asset to their team.
Mm-hmm. We've talked about customer service, handling those tough situations, staying organized, being tech savvy.
Right, all the essentials.
But what else comes to mind when you picture, like, a top-notch valet?
I think for me it's about that mix of professionalism
Mhm.
with genuine warmth.
Yeah.
Someone who can really make those customers feel welcome and taken care of,
Right.
even if it's just a brief interaction.
It's about creating those, like, little moments of connection that
Mm,
just brighten someone's day.
totally. And those moments can be so simple, like a friendly greeting
Yeah.
or a helpful suggestion or even just remembering someone's name.
It's about going beyond just the transaction and making it personal.
I love that. I love that. And, those little gestures, they don't just impress customers,
Yeah.
but they can also lead to better tips.
Absolutely. A win-win.
Exactly. So to our listener out there who's prepping for that valet interview,
Yes.
take this advice to heart. Explore all those amazing resources on RoleCatcher
They're so good.
and go out there and shine.
Yeah, you got this.
And even after you land that job,
Yeah.
never stop learning.
Yeah, keep growing.
The parking industry is always changing. There's always something new to discover.
That's what makes it exciting.
It does. Well, until next time, keep diving deep,
Yes.
keep exploring,
Keep
and
learning.
keep those wheels turning.
See you next time.